Ask and you shall receive. This video is all about fall thrillers that I feel like will be so scary. There isn't anything like horror or like anything super gory, but you'll definitely be on the edge of your seat while you're reading these books. I can also guarantee that there are gonna be some books in here that you probably have never heard of before, because I read between like 16 to 20 books a month, and so I'm constantly trying to read like new books that people don't talk about, diverse books, all different kinds of books. So hope you guys enjoy this video. Make sure you subscribe because there's new videos every Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, 3 times a week. So yeah, let's chat about some books. The first book that I want to share that's a really good thriller is The Last Word by Taylor Adams. I really love this book, but I really didn't like it until the like middle to end of the book. The book, I ended up rating it 4 stars, but I think the first part of the book was a little too scary for me. Now, if you're someone who normally reads thrillers, like you'll be just fine. I read a lot of happy, fluffy, easy romances. So when I go from like a happy, fluffy, easy book to like a thriller, sometimes it's like a jump scare. So this book is about a girl who writes a 1-star review on this author's like Goodreads type like thing, or like Google review. And pretty much the author's like, please take that review down. Like, you are the worst, take it down. And she's pretty much just like, that's not happening. Like, this book was trash. So the author of the book literally stalks her, and she's like in a house by herself. I was just shook. There were times where I was reading and I had to go, like literally had to close the book. So I don't think that there's anything that I feel like will scare someone who normally reads thrillers. I just am kind of jumpy when it comes to stuff like this, and it was really scary for me. But again, I rated this 4 stars. I love the ending, and it really like tied everything together the way that it should, or at least I think thrillers should be tied together, and it was a really good one. Another thriller that's great is The Housemaid, but this is actually not what we're gonna talk about today. We're gonna talk about another book by Frida McFadden called Never Lie. Now, I show The Housemaid because I feel like so many people are familiar with the cover of this book, and I actually talked about this book in another Fall Recs video, but I shared thrillers and romances. So if you guys want more like thriller and romance recs, I'll link that video below. But I shared this book and it's great, but truly, I think that Never Lie by Frida McFadden is even better. I think that this is like a good introductory into like thriller era. And this is like, ooh, like chilly, like, oh, you have to read this in fall. So this is about a couple named Trisha and Ethan, and they're newlyweds, and they visit this like mansion situation because they're thinking about buying it. And when they go there, they see that a psychiatrist used to live in the like mansion they're thinking of buying, and they end up finding all these tapes from whenever the psychiatrist would have like meetings and sessions with her patients. And the tapes are absolutely just like wild, and I ended up just being like, I had no idea what was gonna happen in this book, and I love when thrillers kind of catch me off guard. Also, it was super easy to read. Like, the book, again, is, I think, like a very small book. Like, you can see it's like a little bit shorter than The Housemaid, and even still, it is, The Housemaid is like your average book, so this is a little shorter than that. But the words are so much bigger. Like The Housemaid, if you look at this one, they're a lot tinier. The words in this are way bigger, and this is white paper, and I don't know what it is about white paper, but it's just easier to read for me. So you will fly through this book. I really loved it. You find out a lot as you start listening to these tapes, and you see lots of like crazy things. It is such a good book. Now, one thing I think a lot of people leave out when they give book recs is books by either Black authors or just diverse reads in general. So as a Black woman, I think I like seeing my own representation in books, so I think it's important for me to like share those. And this book was literally almost a 5-star book for me. It was a 4.5 because when I rate a 5-star, it has to give me that feeling for one, but 2, I have to want to read it again. Like, that's my criteria for a 5-star. And the only reason why this isn't a 5-star, like, is because I wouldn't read it again, because it was so good. But like, I don't know if I can go through this torment again of this book. It's called Their Vicious Games by Joelle Wellington. And if you liked the show Squid Games, you will love this book. So pretty much the main character, Adina, she ends up like something happens at school where she gets like kicked out of Yale, and she's like, I have to go back. It's either Yale or Brown or like some other like prestigious school, like an Ivy League school. And she's like, I like have to get back into an Ivy League. Well, there's this little competition that's very similar to Squid Games, like almost a replica, but just different games, like the show on Netflix. And so she's like, I have to get invited to the show because if you, not show, if I have to get invited to the games because if you get invited to the games, they're vicious games, you can pretty much get anything that you want once you win. Like you're one of the elite. And she's not like, I don't know, she's not very wealthy. Like she had to work really hard to like even get her like admission into the school. And so she's like, I need it back. And she ends up signing up for these games, and y'all, these are wild games, like absolutely wild, like people just being, you know, like I was shook. The whole time I was just like gripping the book like this, like just turning the pages so fast, like please make it to the next game. And you don't really know who to trust because there's other people in the games and some of them are from her school, but a lot of them are the elite from her school. It's so good, like so good. If you can read nothing else out of these like thrillers, now I will say that this is more of a plot twisty thriller. Like I don't think it's like a jump scare thriller. You definitely will feel like the heart palpitations for sure, but it's more like a plot twisty, like scary, like I hope she makes it to the end type thing, not like a someone's jumping out of a back door type thing, but you will love this. It is so good. This is a book that I read years ago, but I always recommend it, and it's called The Couple Next Door by Cherie Lapina. Now I always recommend it because this is a book that you will like finish in a day. Like I remember finishing this book in 24 hours, and I'm just gonna read the back because I don't want to give away any spoilers. I feel like this is one of those books where you like can easily just like slip up and say something that is gonna like make the book be given away, and I don't want to do that. It says Anne and Marco seem to have it all, a loving relationship, a wonderful home, and their beautiful baby Cora. But one night when they're at a dinner party next door, a terrible crime is committed. Suspicion immediately falls on the parents, but the truth is much more complicated. What follows is the nerve-wracking unraveling of a family. Detective knows that the panicked couple is hiding something inside the curtain house. Anne and Marco both soon discover that the other is keeping secrets they've kept for years. The shocking truth will leave you breathless. And this author actually writes a lot of thrillers, and I love this author's writing. They're super like fast. You'll jump into it really quick and you'll just like love it. And I don't know, I feel like everyone should read a book by Cherie Lapina because they're just like really good. Like the first sentence of this says, Anne can feel the acid churning in her stomach, creeping up her throat. Her head is swimming. I'm gonna leave it at that. Like she just like pulls you and you're like, well, what's going on? Like you need to read this author's book. This is a book that is giving Get Out vibes. Like if you watch the show Get Out, you love the show Get Out, you will love this book. It is about two black students who they go to a school that's like predominantly white, and it's like a prep school, and they like do everything right. Like they're like, I want to be top of the class. Like they work super hard, and they do have some secrets, and it is wild how like deep these secrets can go. But they pretty much get outed for a lot of their secrets that they have, because someone named Ace starts like spreading all the secrets around school, and neither of them knows how like this person is finding out about their secrets, because these two people, Devin and Shamika, are not friends like at all. They're not even in the same circle. Like one's super popular and one's kind of like quiet. And it seems that Ace has no signs of stopping, and Ace is literally ruining their lives and ruining their chance of going to like prestigious schools. And they're like, we have to stop Ace. Like this is going to ruin us. And they kind of band together to try to figure out who Ace is. The ending of this book, you will literally be shocked. When you get to the point, you'll be like, oh my God, like it is so good. Again, if you like watching the movie Get Out, this gives those vibes. It is so good. This is another book by Cherie Lapina, and I'm pretty sure that in my like cozy fall recs video that has like thrillers and romances, I don't think I overlapped any thrillers. So if you guys want to go back and look at that video, you'll be able to get even more thriller recs. But I was thinking about this book. I'm like, I can't remember if I talked about it or not, but I don't think that I did. And it's called A Stranger in the House. And again, I'm going to read the back of this book because Cherie Lapina's books are those types of books that they jump in really fast, and I don't want to like say anything that's not on the back of the book and spoil anything. And it says, a present she can't remember, a past that won't let her go. Karen Crump was home making dinner for her husband. She was expecting him any second. The phone rang. It was the call she hoped she'd never get. She jumped in her car, raced to a neighborhood that she thought she'd never visit. She peered into the dark, deserted building and braced herself for the worst. After that, she remembered nothing. They told her husband Tom she'd been in an accident. She must have lost control of her car as she sped through the roughest part of town. The police suspect that Karen was up to no good, but her husband refuses to believe it. Her best friend is not so sure, and even Karen herself doesn't know what to believe. Then she realizes something in her house has been moved. Someone's been there, and now everyone is a stranger. Everyone has a secret, one they might even kill for. Now, again, this is an author who jumps right into things, and the story picks up really fast. And the first sentence of this says, "She doesn't belong here." Second sentence, "She bolts out the back door of the abandoned restaurant, stumbling in the dark. Most of the lights are burned out or broken, her breath coming in loud rasps." That's how this book starts. Like, I love when thrillers start like that. You will eat this book up in literally 24 hours. This author is so good with thrillers, and I feel like, I don't know, I feel like she's hyped up, but I don't really know. Like, I just don't hear people talking about her books as much anymore. They're so, so good. This book is less of a thriller and more of just like I can't even explain it. Like, there's definitely thrilling aspects, but don't go into this book expecting like an edge of your seat thriller. It's more of like a, like, what the heck type thriller, if that makes sense. Like, I think that this book is actually categorized under fiction, but when I was reading it, I was like, you know what? I feel like this book is definitely giving thriller aspects. If you're someone who doesn't like to read super scary thrillers and you want to read a book by a Black author, read this book. It's called Wahala by Nikki May. Now, there are 3 friends in this book, and they've been besties for years. They're super close. They've always been really close. And this girl, Isabel, starts to like join their group, and she messes everything up. Like, literally everything she touches turns to like the opposite of gold. Like, she literally ruins everything. And it says Three's Company, Four's Trouble on the front, and I feel like that's a really good way to explain this book. They all have different lives, and a lot of the girls in the group are unhappy, and Isabel, she just kind of like stirs the pot and makes things even worse. And it says, a sharp modern take on friendship, ambition, culture, and betrayal. Wahala is an unforgettable novel from a brilliant new voice, and Wahala means trouble, apparently, because it says Wahala in parentheses, it says trouble. So I feel like this is a good book. I think, again, it leans more towards like a drama, like a heavy drama, like kind of scary-ish drama. But if you're someone who doesn't read thrillers and maybe you want to dip your toe into something a little scary or like very, very dramatic that kind of will leave you like, I feel like this is a good start. I finally read The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelids, and I'll actually be talking about this in my wrap up at the end of this month because I read it this month. But I have to add it into this little list because so many people told me to read this book, and I was like, okay, sure, whatever. Like, I like reading books by women. Like, I just don't normally read books written by men, but especially not books about a woman who murders someone. Like, I just was like, a woman murders her husband and it's written by a man. Like, it's giving, we're gonna just like make this woman the worst person in the world. And I just was like, I don't know if I'm here for it. This book was good. It's everything that people say that it is. So many people have raved about this book, and I should have listened a long time ago. This book was really, really good. It is about Alicia, who her life seems perfect until one night when her husband Gabriel returns home late from work, and Alicia shoots him 5 times in the face and then never speaks a word after that. And she ends up going to like a psychiatric hospital, and she's there for a while, and they're trying to like figure out why she is like not talking. She refuses to talk, and she gives no explanation, and it is just the whole book. You'll just like read it and be like, and at the end, the twist got me. I had no idea it was coming. It was a very good book, and it is what people say it is. So read it. If you've been thinking about reading this thriller, read it. I will say this is not a super, super scary, like gory thriller. I think because the cover looks kind of scary, it has like the red words and like the little slit here. I just like a little nervous that it would be too scary. It wasn't. It really wasn't. This gate was actually less scary than some of like Frida McFadden's writing or other like thriller authors that I have read. So read this if you like thrillers. It is a good one. The next book is one I don't hear people talk about much, and it's called Not So Perfect Strangers by L.S. Stratton. This is one of those I'm going to read the back just because I don't want to spoil it at all, but I really, really enjoyed this book. I feel like this book is like a modern take on how like society can be really scary for like black and brown people in the wrong settings, and like it is just done so well. So on the back it says, Tasha Jenkins has finally found the courage to leave her abusive husband, taking her teen son with her. Tasha checks into a hotel the night before her flight out of DC and out of Cordell Jenkins' life forever. But escaping isn't so easy, and Tasha soon finds herself driving back to her own personal hell. As she's leaving, a woman pounds on her car door, begging to be let in. Behind the woman, an angry man is in pursuit. Tasha makes a split-second decision that will alter the course of her life. She lets her in and takes off. Tasha and Madison may have different everyday realities, but what they both have in common is marriages they need out of. The two women want to help each other, they just have very different ideas of what that means, and they're on a collision course that will end in the case files of the DC MPD Homicide Unit. L.S. Stratton's masterful domestic thriller is a deliciously devious spin on Alfred Hitchcock's Strangers on a Train that flips the script on race and gender politics. I thought that this was such a good book, and again, I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it, and it's a thriller that will leave you like just being like, what is she supposed to do? Like what is she supposed to do? Who's she supposed to turn to? Like, it was really, really good. Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney is another thriller that I've recently read. I think I read it last month, and this is a book, it says, I'm gonna read the back, I keep reading the back, but like thrillers to me, like you cannot spoil a thriller. Like if you spoil a thriller, like you can't read it, you know? It's like you have to make sure that it is like, I don't know, secretive enough where there's still like the mystery aspect there. And it says, think you know the person you married? Think again. Things have been wrong with Mr. and Mrs. Wright for a long time. Every anniversary, the couple exchanges traditional gifts, and Adam's wife writes him a letter she never lets him read until now. Self-confessed workaholic Adam Wright has face blindness. He can't even recognize his own wife, and Amelia is sick of feeling unseen. When Adam and Amelia win a weekend away to Scotland, it might just be what their marriage needs. This weekend may make or break their marriage, but they didn't randomly win this trip. One of them is lying, and someone doesn't want them to live happily ever after. That alone was like, whoo, and I really enjoyed this book. It does definitely take a little bit longer to like get going, but I feel like once you really get into the book, you will absolutely love it. And that is all the thrillers that I want to share with you guys today. Again, if you guys want more thriller recs that are like unique and different, head over to my fall recs video with like cozy reads. I shared some thrillers and I also shared some romances, so you can get even more thriller recs there. And be sure to come back in the next video on Thursday because we're gonna have a book haul and I'm gonna pick up some thrillers, some good cozy autumn finds. It's all gonna be like a cozy little like book shopping with me video, so get ready because it's gonna be a fun one, and I'll see you there. Bye guys.